morning light filtered through New Atlanta's viewports, casting long shadows across the polished floors of the Hall of Leadership. Jaydon brushed off his suit jacket. He checked it thoroughly as he slipped it on. He could feel the series of specialized items sewn into it. Old habits from the old days. Even as governor of Titan's Hope, he always kept his arsenal of tricks close at hand. "Sir," his AI assistant chirped through his office communicator. "Two individuals approaching. Biometric scans indicate extensive cybernetic modifications." Jaydon frowned. He already knew who it was. Before Jaydon could make a move, the office door swung open. Conan filled the frame, his cybernetic arms gleaming, his artificial eye scanning the room with predatory precision. Behind him, Tone sauntered in, cowboy boots clicking against the floor, his hand resting casually near his ionic blaster, a particularly vicious weapon known for emitting an energy pulse so powerful that it literally split men in half. "Mr. Lawrence," Conan's deep voice rumbled, "Mr. Hurd sends his regards." "Were you able to get Ms. Johnson to agree to the terms of his lucrative offer?" Tone added, adjusting his cowboy hat with a smirk. "Gentlemen," Jaydon smiled, sliding his hand along his sleeve, "I'm afraid that Ms. Johnson declined. I believe she said, what was it she said? Oh yeah, kiss her ass." Conan grimaces, light flashing from his artificial eye. I told Mr. Hurd trusting you was a waste of his time." "Boss don't like failures, Mr. Lawrence. Failure has consequences," Tone interjected. "Look, guys, let me talk to Mr. Hurd. I'm sure if I can get a little more time, I can convince her to come to her senses. She's just been listening to some bad influences." Jaydon stammered as he placed his hands behind his back and activating a specific switch sewn into the sleeve of his suit jacket. A magnetic resonator plopped into his hand, his instincts already letting him know how this conversation was going to end. "That offer," Conan began, "was his best and final. If she ain't take it now, she ain't never gonna take it. And I wouldn't worry about talking to anyone again, Mr. Lawrence. I told you, failure has consequences." Tone chimed in, reaching for his blaster. "Ah," sighed Jaydon. In one fluid motion, born from years of less than legal activities, he activated the magnetic resonator. The device hummed to life, creating an invisible barrier of magnetic energy. Conan lunged forward, only to find his cybernetic arms locked in place. "What the?" Tone drew his weapon, but the magnetic field pulled it from his grasp, sending it clattering uselessly to the floor. "You sneaky son of a bitch, he activated a resonance field." "Linus," Jaydon said in his calm, "execute extraction plan Delta." Outside the window, his sleek two-seater speeder rose into view, his faithful droid Linus at the controls. The window slid open automatically, another of Jaydon's carefully planned escape routes. "It's been a pleasure, gentlemen." He gave a mock bow before leaping into the speeder's open cockpit. "Get us out of here, old friend," Jaydon commanded as he strapped in. "Calculating optimal escape route," Linus responded, his metallic voice calm as ever. "Though I must point out, sir, this is the third time this month we've had to make an emergency exit." The speeder tore through the spaceways at high speed. "Less commentary, more flying," Jaydon shouted as plasma bolts began streaking past them. Tone and Conan had broken free and were in pursuit in their own vehicle. "Last time I trust those bums from New Metropolis," Jaydon complained. "That resonance field only held them for a few minutes. Get to my ship, Linus. We'll have more of a fighting chance against those two thugs in it." Linus weaved through New Atlanta's architecture, but their pursuers were gaining. A shot clipped their wing, sending them into a spin. "Sir," Linus announced, "hull integrity at 60%. Another shot rang out, this one punching straight through Linus's chest cavity. The droid's photoreceptors flickered. "Sir, it appears I've been rather inconveniently damaged." The speeder spiraled out of control, plummeting toward the station's water reservoir. Jaydon grabbed the controls, but it was too late. They hit the water hard, the impact sending him slamming against the dashboard. Meanwhile, in the back of the Zero-G garage, Zaria lay in bed, the sheets draped across her bare shoulders as she traced the pattern of scars on Raven's chest. Last night's passion lingered in the air, but morning had brought with it the weight of what needed to be done. "The AI's fighting itself," she explained softly, reaching over Raven to pull up diagnostic readouts on her holo display. The sheet slipped slightly, and Raven's eyes followed its path before returning to the serious matter at hand. "Daddy's quantum harmonic modifications don't play nice with the original systems. If I can shut it down temporarily, I can integrate the stabilization protocols from his tablet." "I still don't understand why you are determined to fix this ship. Won't that make it easier for Hurd to get his hands on your daddy's work?" "It might," Zaria replied. "But the problem is Hurd's fleet is made up of independent contractors, innocent men and women just trying to make a living. If he's modded his fleet with these incomplete system upgrades, then innocent people will die." "Damn, is nothing ever easy around here?" Raven interjected with a bit of frustration. "Nope. Get used to it, buddy. Pixel, get in here." The door to the room slid open and Pixel hovered in. "Ooh, y'all were doing the nasty. I should tell your mama," the droid said in a teasing tone. "Hush." Zaria shot back with a sly smile. "I need your help with interfacing with the ghost ship's primary computer, uploading my diagnostics now." Pixel tactfully kept its optical sensors focused on the diagnostics rather than the intimate scene below. "Girl, do you know how dangerous this sounds?" Pixel swooped down, projecting the system readings into the air above the bed. "Those system diagnostics are looking messier than your mama's kitchen after Sunday dinner." Raven propped himself up on one elbow, the sheets pooling around his waist. "By shutting down, you mean interfacing directly with a malfunctioning AI, one that's already unstable?" His free hand found hers, fingers intertwining with an urgency that spoke of more than just physical desire. "That's why I got Pixel to help monitor my vitals," Zaria said, squeezing his hand. The warmth of his skin against hers made her wish they could stay in this moment longer, but duty called. "This ain't some regular maintenance job, Zaria." Raven's voice was husky with concern. "You're talking about diving into the mind of a ship that's already half crazy." Pixel circled the room nervously, its anti-grav units humming. "Lord have mercy, why can't you ever pick nice, safe projects, like rebuilding engines or rewiring nav systems? And could y'all please put some clothes on before we discuss potential death scenarios?" A short time later, Zaria, Raven, and Pixel exited her room. The walk to the ghost ship felt longer than usual. Before she could walk up the ramp into the cargo bay, Raven caught her arm while Pixel ran preliminary scans of the ship's systems. "Just come back to me, okay?" Raven said softly. Zaria's response was a kiss that said everything words couldn't. Inside the ship, the air felt electric, charged with the AI's chaotic energy. Zaria nervously ran her hand over the primary comm station on the bridge, while Pixel ran one more precautionary diagnostic scan. "These readings are all over the place," Pixel announced, the concern clear in its voice. "That AI's about as stable as Cousin Elamai after 3 drinks at the family reunion." "Then let's give it something new to think about." Zaria settled into the chair, her cybernetic hand raising upwards at the wrist and neural leads snaking out and connect to the primary computer. While similar to when she interfaced with the Shadow Hawk previously, there was one key difference. Zaria was going to have to fully immerse her consciousness into the system, a two-way feed with very dangerous consequences. In this instance, she was dropping certain security protocols that protected her consciousness, meaning if this failed the ghost ship's A, I could take over her mind and erase her consciousness from existence, making her a zombie extension of itself. Run final checks, Pixel. The droid circled her chair, scanning each connection. Interface protocols stable, but girl, I still think this is crazy. Your daddy would have my circuits for letting you do this. Initiating interface in 3, 2, 1. The digital world exploded around her, a maelstrom of corrupted code and conflicting protocols. The AI's presence was immediate and hostile, its confusion manifesting as waves of aggressive defense programs. System compromise detected, initiating quarantine protocols. Wait, Zaria started, but the AI was beyond reasoning. It struck at her digital form with fragments of broken code, each hit sending spikes of pain through her real body. Vital spiking! Pixel's voice cut through the chaos, the droid hovering protectively over her physical form. Raven, we need to pull her out. Not yet, Zaria gritted through clenched teeth, pushing deeper into the system. The ghost ship's half-implemented modifications created a maze of paradoxes and loops, each one threatening to trap her consciousness. I ain't here to hurt you, she projected into the digital space. I'm trying to help. The AI responded with another attack, this one nearly overwhelming her defenses. Pixel's sensors detected blood trickling from her nose. Oh, hell no, she muttered, channeling all her skill and determination. She began singing one of her daddy's old spirituals while deploying her own set of defensive armaments from her cybernetic arm. Zaria did all she could to focus her mind, letting the rhythm guide her through the chaos. Her blasters struck down each antiviral codec, which had taken the form of bug-like entities. They descended upon her in waves, and as she fought her way through them, she kept singing. The song became code, the code became a path, and suddenly she was through the AI's defenses. At its core, she could see the problem, the quantum harmonics trying to merge with original protocols, creating a feedback loop of confusion and fear. With precise digital movements, she began the shutdown sequence. The AI fought back one last time, and this time, its attack was the one she feared the most. Initiating override protocols. Digital tendrils snaked towards Zaria's digital form. Zaria tried to fight them back as she continued her inputting the shutdown sequence and the stabilization protocol. While she destroyed a few, the tendrils began to overwhelm her defenses, and one by one, they stabbed into her digital form and attempted to rewrite her consciousness. But Zaria held on, helped by built-in defensive programs that couldn't hold the line for long, but kept the reprogramming at bay while she completed the sequence. Zaria could feel herself fighting, and the reprogramming beginning to overwhelm her last line of defenses, and then suddenly everything went dark. Silence and darkness lingered for a long, agonizing moment. Then there was a rush of images and codes and light. She snapped back to her body with a gasp, nearly falling from the chair. Raven caught her while Pixel quickly disconnected the neural leads, scanning her vitals. Girl, don't you ever scare me like that again. The droid bobbed agitatedly in the air. Your readings went places they ain't got no business going. That was way too close, Zaria said quietly. Neural scan complete. Looks like you're still you, boss lady, replied Pixel with barely contained relief and glee. Can you walk? Asked Raven, helping her to her feet. Before she could respond, the garage's emergency lights flashed. Pixel's receivers picked up an incoming transmission. Emergency signal coming in. Someone outside the garage. Someone unwelcomed, the droid announced, projecting a holographic display. Hold up, it's Jaydon. I'll handle this, said Raven stoically. He walked outside of the garage, the rage building up in his body. Didn't she tell you not to come back, boy? He growled as he raised his fist to smash into Jaydon's face. No choice. Bad, it's all bad, replied Jaydon, slumping to the ground, losing consciousness. Raven stopped dead in his tracks, completely taken aback. Zaria, he yelled, not knowing what to do next. Zaria walked out of the zero-G and gazed at Jaydon. What happened? She asked, immediately noticing his wounds. My guess, Hurd and his men didn't take too kindly to him not being able to get you to sign over the zero-G. Raven noted as he knelt down to tend to Jaydon. Zaria stared at him. Her emotions were overwhelming. Jaydon was so many things to her. A former lover, a man who'd betrayed her trust, who'd worked with NATC behind her back. And yet she also remembered that they grew up together. All the hardships he faced as a kid with his parents passing away when he was young and having to live with his grandmother, who was a great friend to the Johnson family. All these memories, and yet almost every fiber of her being wanted to discard him, to cast him aside. Almost every fiber. There was still a part of her that cared for him, and seeing him laying there battered and bleeding, she couldn't leave him lying there like that. They had so much history, and despite everything, Jaydon was still family in a complicated way. Lord have mercy, she whispered, her daddy's words echoing in her mind. Sometimes the hardest choices weren't between right and wrong, but between two kinds of right. Zaria shed a tear. She could see her daddy smile, warm and caring, in her mind's eye, assuring her that she was making the right decision. Pixel, she commanded, watching her faithful droid snap to attention. Prep the med bay and call Mama on a secured line. Tell her to get a hold of Mrs. Chen and to keep things on the low. Got it? Got it, boss lady, Pixel replied. Raven, help me get him inside and let's close the garage. This is starting to get complicated, she continued. Yeah, Raven replied quietly, he himself having to deal with his own feelings towards Jaydon. He began dragging Jaydon into the garage, but as he was entering the garage, he noticed a glint of metal from a building in the distance. He instinctively knew what it meant. And unfortunately for everyone, he instinctively knew how this would end unless he took action. Drastic action. The doors to the zero-G slowly closed, sealing off the light from the repair bay. And as Zaria, Pixel, Raven, and Jaydon passed by the ghost ship, none of them noticed that systems hummed quietly, ready to accept its new programming, just like Theodore Johnson had planned all along. If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, remember that the zero-G is more than just a garage, and Zaria and Pixel are always on the job. See you soon.